Alrighty then. It would appear that it's officially penis o'clock, right on the dot. You're just on time for your appointment with Conor McBoner. Step right up. I know all of you are jumping with joy to feast your eyes on this one. There's no such thing as bad publicity, am I right, fellas? Aw, yeah. I'm so glad that I was able to be present for this momentous occasion in the great sport of MMA. And I consider myself lucky to be blessed with a growing audience that I'm fortunate enough to engage in a discourse with regard to amazing topics like this. Okay, yeah, so Conor McCreepoid is smashing into the news cycle like a rogue comet yet again this week. And as is a surprise to literally zero people with a working cranium, it has nothing to do with fighting, nothing to do with his career, zilch. Nothing to do with an upcoming UFC return, nothing to do with the White House card, Michael Chandler, training footage, Twitter beef with a potential opponent that would be a pretty fun return fight. Not even anything regarding his promotional skills over at BKFC. Nope. None of that good stuff. We're living in the nightmare timeline, remember? Yes, Conor Pest decided it would be a good idea to send a pair of truly horrifying wiener pictures to Dee Devlin. And by Dee Devlin, his fiancée whom he shares 4 kids with, I mean Azalea Banks. I don't know why he thought this would go well, but sure enough, it took no time for Banks to immediately post what she received, unsolicited, to socials, saying, and I quote, "How you gonna send a bitch some crooked dick pics then threaten her not to tell? Do you know who the fuck I am? This is haram." Oh, God. Oh my God. Conor McCrooked, you are 37 years old. You have a soon-to-be wife and several children. Pack it in, my guy.
Dude, what the f***? Why are you f***ing here, man? You're so old. Where's your wife? Go home to your family, dude.
What in the barnacles are you doing sending your hellish junk to a random celebrity like an 18-year-old fuckboy? Goodness gracious. Someone take this man's phone and put him in a straitjacket. Enough is enough. I've intentionally avoided talking about McGregor on this channel unless it pertains to him actually fighting or the prospect of him eventually fighting, as all the news over the years has just gotten kinda stale. I've never had much interest in talking about him looking coked out at a party or punching someone at a nightclub or whatever. I've made fun of him in a couple videos in the past, but I planned on keeping it at that since there wasn't really much point in talking about it further. It just wasn't interesting, and I didn't think there was anything he could do that would shock me. And so the timing of this is particularly amusing because I literally just made a video saying this. And then there's McGregor, who is such a weird little stinky smelly goblin at this point that literally any news I get of him being strange or coked out or hitting someone in a nightclub or whatever, it's just unshocking. Conor McAnglerfish must have felt the public malaise surrounding his name and decided to up the ante. He actually managed to pull it off. He made me double take it a headline and actually give enough of a shit to look further. Hell, I think this news was pretty unavoidable, even if I tried to swerve it like the plague. Thankfully, for my precious eyeballs that I hold dear, I didn't actually see the rancid thing. I saw the tweet and a censored version of the screenshots he fired at Banks like an erectile cannonball, but I get the picture, I don't need to see it. I didn't care to go digging, and from what I gather, I'd very much recommend that none of you do that either. I've heard it's quite the sight.
I got a good feel about gentleman Eddie feels strong. Sometimes when a man comes onto your land, you get strength from the gods.
It's so very depressing that the 2 biggest names in the sport today are a pair of perverted, violent, good-for-nothing, slimy weirdos. I love that we have these guys as bastions of the sport. 2 of the very few that have managed to crack into the mainstream zeitgeist over the years happen to be enormous creeps. I'd like to think that Conor McGregor of 10 years ago would be horrified of the Conor McWagstaff of today, but honestly, who knows? I'm not sure this guy has ever had the best judgment from the stories over the years, but adding endless cash and high-end narcotics to the mix certainly soured it further. Sorry, not sorry, but this guy is a menace. I feel really bad for his wife and kids, especially the latter. I've seen some putting some blame on Devlin for kind of letting shit like this slide, seemingly to maintain her rich lifestyle, and sure, but she was with this guy from day 0. I doubt it's all purely from a gold-digging motivation. She loves the guy. But honestly, who knows? I don't know these fucking people. And as for his kids, they're gonna have to grow up with not just the news of this, but of the other countless stories of him assaulting people and being handsy with random women in nightclubs or just otherwise being a drunken baboon, blasted off his ass in every public setting. Not to mention all the legal scandals. I'm not getting into all that. Even if they're shielded from it now, they're gonna be made aware. And that sucks. This is the sad reality of reaching the top echelon of a sport like MMA. You have a very finite window of time to get in there, rise through the rankings, get to the top, make your bag, and get out. And that's if you're lucky. You got essentially 10 or 15 years that you can get in there and put your body on the line before it stops bending and starts breaking. Some are able to fight into their 40s, like many in the heavier weight classes, or like Wonder Boy, for example, who just fought this past weekend at 42 and actually managed to look pretty good. But most of everyone else starts to wane by the time they get to their late 30s. I can't imagine how hard it must be to mentally process the idea of your body just not keeping up with what you want it to do at that young of an age. 35 to 40 really ain't that old, but in the fight business, it's basically a senior citizen. Imagine dedicating your life to this one thing and going through wars, tough losses, bounce back wins, maybe being dominant, being the talk of the town, baddest dude on the planet, to now you just can't hack it anymore. It's gotta be depressing as fuck, and that combined with the fight purses for legends not being as high as they should be, as we all know, this leads to many sticking around way past their expiration date. Thank God that GFL garbage fell in the toilet, because the amount of old-ass fighters signed up for that would have been a horror show. It sucks they still need the money like that, but seeing them put themselves through a CTE meat grinder would have sucked even more. Anyways, point is, Conor hit that peak and then some at a much younger age. Easy to make fun of him now, but his run was truly insane. It's what people hold on to when they clamor for him to make his return. I think people are hoping he'll have a proverbial come-to-Jesus moment, sober up, get in shape, and come back like he did in that second Dustin Poirier fight in 2021 at the least. Just sharp, well-conditioned, straight and narrow Conor. I know he got knocked down in that one, but just look how he carried himself in this interview.
You know, we're in the bubble right now. It's a very serious situation that the world is, you know, gripped by, so... You know, we follow the protocol, make sure everything's safe, everything's correct. And that's it. I'm just happy to be back, happy to be able to compete, you know, and to be here in Abu Dhabi, enjoying the sunshine.
And now look at him.
What's good, Hollywood? It's a pleasure to be back here at the Hard Rock Hotel, where, you know, this Saturday night, we have a flagship event.
Pretty remarkable difference. I can understand thinking that we might get this guy back, but getting back the true superstar that starched everyone all the way back to Jose Aldo, all the infamous wars with Nate Diaz, whooped the piss out of Eddie Alvarez, and set the world on fire with the build-up to Maymac is pie in the sky. That McGregor is worm food, and this is the one we're left with. The high this guy must have been on from joining the UFC in 2013 through the Mayweather fight in 2017 must have been otherworldly. Just 4 straight years of grabbing the attention of everyone and their mother and being the hottest thing in town. Just skyrocketing further and further every year. We're seeing Topuria do something very similar, but the rate at which this man became double champ was unheard of at the time or since. After capping it off with a metric assload of millions and then steering the juggernaut that was Proper 12, the guy had certifiably made it. And as what happened with Tyson Fury, achieving his dreams and having little else on the horizon to stay hungry for, must have seen the pits coming for him. I know we still got that Khabib super fight after this, but even then, he was already starting to spiral. And then being kept out of action due to COVID restrictions, and then back-to-back losses with Poirier were basically the nail in the coffin. Once it was clear in his mind that he wasn't that guy anymore, he fell off a cliff. From then on, it was nothing but stinkers hitting the news feed from Conor. And that leads us all the way here to him sending his cock and balls to Azealia Banks. Former double champ, pay-per-view superstar, UFC legend, turned into a sad little penis man.